As problems with the federal student aid process persist, some local graduates remain undecided about their college plans. Students nationwide have faced issues after the free application for federal student or FAFSA aid was overhauled. This resulted in many colleges pushing back their official decision day. 18-year-old Brandon Brazel of McKees Rocks explained that as of mid-June, he still hasn't received all of the necessary aid information he needs in order to commit to a college. He said, they just say it's delayed, and then it's delayed. You don't really know when specifically you're going to get that back. He continues, I'm not going to make a rash decision on where I want to go if I can't afford it. Affording it is a big piece for us. His hopes of playing college baseball are also being affected, as some coaches tell him he has missed his chance by not committing. For colleges, the delays also pose a threat. Enrollment decreases like those being projected now could put many small colleges out of business or necessitate deep cuts in staff. Molly Cesare, Vice President of Enrollment Management and Corporate Partnerships at Carlow University, said, quote, we were one of the first schools in the region to say, we don't need your decision by May 1st. Let's push it to June 1st. But because we're rolling admissions, we're still working with students, and there are students that don't have financial aid packages from all of their institutions, and they need that to make a decision. According to the National College Attainment Network, across the United States, the number of students who have successfully submitted the FAFSA is down 29% from this time last year. And it's even worse at schools with more low-income students. So I work part-time for the university as a tour guide. So I'm constantly talking to and around people that are applying for college, helping them out, speaking to them about making a decision. And so I have heard all about, the issues with FAFSA this year. So it's definitely difficult to have to hear how much more challenging it has gotten to receive financial aid when applying to college, because for so many people, like this article kind of explains, it's a big deal breaker when deciding for college, especially now when college has gotten a lot more expensive. I mean, there's big colleges all over the country that are reaching up to 90K in tuition, some maybe even a little bit higher, and that is mind-blowing to me, that the fact that we pay so much, again, without financial aid you would have to pay that much, and a lot of the times financial aid help people out with that. It's so common. I mean, so many people I know here at Pitt get financial aid for coming here. And for me personally, my dad honestly stopped even applying for financial aid because both my parents work and I am an in-state student, so it really wasn't helping us out that much. It wasn't really worth it anymore. And I'm very lucky that, I don't really have to worry too much about that. But again, for so many other people, it's really, really a deal breaker. And it's tough for kids to have to worry about that. The college decision process towards senior year of high school is already so stressful, taking financial aid out of the equation, that adding that in is really, really tough on these 18-year-olds trying to decide on where to go to college.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember I haven't seen the FAFSA this past year, but the year before was a literal nightmare scenario getting mine done. My dad and I spent an exorbitantly large amount of time going through paperwork after paperwork, trying to get it. Like, it was actually just such a pain to get it done. And the fact, like, I really we didn't think it was going to get much worse than this, and it clearly has. College is one of the most important things in America right now, based on the way that it is presented. It is not only a way for you to finally discover, the career path you want to take. You can start learning about things that you really, really are passionate about. You also get to do a lot of learning, about yourself as a person. You finally get to live out on your own. You get to make connections. You get to really start adulting, for lack of a better word, for the first time. You didn't have a chance to do that when you were living in your parents' house when you were in high school. So to make it increasingly difficult with tuition, like you said, is a phenomenal thing. I remember I was looking at schools up here. One of them, Hofstra University up in Long Island, is like 85 grand per year, which is absolutely just like heart in my throat. I thought I was going to be sick when I heard that. It was wild. It's not worth it for these institutions to charge so much. Like for certain kids, like they won't be able to afford that, especially if you can't get any sort of aid from the FAFSA. The FAFSA is so important as schools get more and more and more and more expensive that to have it go down, drop nearly 30% in use from last year is terrifying because these kids, I mean, they're going to wind up start taking out student loans. Those loans are going to accrue. It is hard to wind up finding a position of high monetary value right out of school. So those loans are going to start to stack. It is hard to pay those off. Those will chase you for decades if you're not extremely careful. And yet, it's almost like we're pushing people to go towards those loans because we're not going to let them get help. We're making it increasingly more difficult for people to get help. I think that that's it's a scary thing. It's something that really, really does influence the college decision for, I think, everybody at this point. I think you can't think about college without thinking about money at all, unless you're part of like the elite of the elite classes of America, because that's just the way college is. You can't disassociate college from money anymore.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with so much of what you said. And, you know, I am very, very blessed and lucky that I really do not worry about how I myself or my family is getting by, how they're paying for my education. I'm have wonderful parents that I don't worry about that too much, which is not very common anymore. Some of my best friends, my best friend from home who goes to a different college, she pays for her education, her rent, everything herself. And I have so much respect for all the young adults that have to do that themselves and worry about that. And this is a huge impact on how they live their lives, how they live day to day, thinking about everything that they have to pay for. So I really hope that this gets turned around and that people don't have to worry as much anymore about how they're gonna get by. And like you said, Colin, like the loans are becoming ever more common because people don't have another option when paying for college. So it's difficult to see. It's hard for me to see. And these kids don't deserve to have to wait any longer than they should.